hanging tight. You know I'm not going to forget about you, right? I hate traveling and doing webinars and conferences. So I'm actually at the CRS celebration in Reno, where there are rampant fires burning through the state right now around Reno and stuff. It's out of control here. So ash falling from the sky, all kinds of crazy stuff. So, but that's enough about me. I'm in a hotel room. Let me make sure everybody can hear me. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, good thing I brought two computers because my other one's not playing nice. So I jumped on the other one. I always like over prepare whenever I got to do this stuff while I'm traveling. So, all right, guys, today we're talking about open houses. So actually I wanted to really open this up to you guys for a second and maybe not only share what you might be doing in the group. We've done that already, but is there something specific that you guys want to get out of this session today? I want to make sure we cover that and that you guys get the most you can get. I know it's open houses and you guys said you do open houses. So that's great. And I just need to make sure that we're covering information that I can best help you guys with for doing that. So I'm just going to kind of open it up to you guys for 1 second and tell me what you would like to know about open houses. This is a whole day on open houses. And I'm looking for the PowerPoint. I just realized I switched computers, so I got to find the PowerPoint and get it on here. Tell me what you want to get out of today. What would make this an incredible open house session that you just took an hour out of your life to come and listen to?
Brad, the biggest thing for me is the, because I know that in an open house, it's mostly, I put a net out for buyers and for sellers. So it's the scripts that you use for the buyers that come in, how you convert them and get them into your system. And, like, what's the conversation that you have with them? Because, I've been doing them. And it's like the usual question, are you working with an agent? Do you have an agent? Is this your first day? You've been looking for a while. Do you have something to sell? All those kinds of things. But, do you go right to, okay, get them to download your app, or, just kind of, what's that conversation like that you have with your open house people?
Gotcha. All right. Cool. Who else? Tell me some more. What do you guys want to get out of today? I mean, this is your session. You're the ones taking an hour out of the day. Tell me something else you would like to get. Oh, come on. Who else is doing open houses on the call, or you've done open houses in the past? Just kind of speak up. You don't have to have necessarily anything that you're expecting, but tell me if you've done open houses. How many have you done? Have you tried it just once? Have you done it a couple of times? And how did it go? What didn't work the way you thought? And what do you want to try and get out of it?
So I've done it only 2 times. The first time I did it, not so many people, like 2 people came. Then the second time I tried something else. I tried door knocking around the community, and then that increased how many people came to my open house the second time. So I guess what I want to get out of this is, like, what could I do to increase, how many buyers come to check out the property?
Gotcha. Okay. We're actually going to talk about that. Like, what is your system for the open house, and what's the routine thing you're going to do? So that actually is really good to hear that you said it did actually work. I mean, did you tie it to when people came through? Like, did they say?
Because there was this one lady, so I was leaving flyers under the mat when they weren't answering, and she actually came because she saw the flyer I left.
Flyer. Okay, cool. So was that the only one, or did you kind of said I got more traffic? Was it? And
I got more traffic, but yeah, she was the only one that came.
She was the only one. When you say more traffic, you mean one more person?
There was others, but they came for different reasons, I believe.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mhm.
Guys, we're going to make this a powerful open house conversation for sure. So anybody else try open houses? Or yeah, let me start with that first. I'm going to ask that question. Well, I'm just opening up the PowerPoint here and get going. But I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot of time to go through this information. We're just going to dive deep on what Scott said and talking about systems. So, I mean, we've definitely got time here. Anybody else on, you've done an open house, it either went well, didn't go well, tell us about it. This will help us help you get the most out of this. Give it just another second, and I got another way to ask that same question. So let me ask it for everybody that's in the room right now. You are sitting in Ignite Essentials 3, and it's about open houses. So what, video roster, okay. So why are you here? Do you do open houses? Have you never done open houses? You've never done an open house. You don't know how to start one to kick that in. Tell me about that real quick before we move on. We might be doing it without a PowerPoint. I don't know.
Hey, Scott, I got a quick one. I've done them in the past, but my problem is due to the large quantity of people that come through, it's hard to keep it organized. You know, people sign in, but they don't always give their correct information and follow-ups. I try and, code it per, who has an agent, who doesn't have an agent, but things get kind of out of control. That's what I find. And plus the information is not that accurate either at times.
Yeah, so tell me, so like how often does that happen? And what have you thought? I mean, have you thought about how to work around that? And this isn't a trick question. I just want to see where you've been with it and help give the best advice and just to help you guys think of a way to work through that. Cause I'm sure other people have that exact same thing.
What I've done in the past is I'll set up a table outside due to COVID and have them sign in at the table. And I usually do it with another agent or two if it's a bigger house to keep things more in control. And I find that system works pretty good, but still, when you get a line of people and it gets wild, you try and have someone at the gate to control it, but it doesn't always work like that. You always feel like I'm missing something.
Yeah,
Especially
gotcha.
Contact information.
Gotcha. Well, and I already hear when you're talking about we don't get accurate information from them. I mean, if it's a come sign in just to get in the house, you're probably going to get more of that, don't you think?
Oh yeah.
So, okay, cool. All right, I might just have to play without the PowerPoint. For some reason, it's not reading my jump drive here. Oh, I bet you this one won't let me do that on the jump drive. Try one more thing here. Okay. I'm gonna try and email myself the PowerPoint and see if that works. Give me 1 second here, guys. I don't think the PowerPoint's all that critical for today, just because it is. You guys do have the booklet and stuff, but elements number 3. All right, we're going to try this and see if it works. See if I can email it over to myself and open it real quick. Should take just like a minute. Okay, cool. So if you have your printout, your handout, we're going to talk about everything you guys talked about today because I've already gone through the material. We're going to talk, Scott, I want to make sure specifically, I think that was you that was talking about the scripts, but also those scripts will kind of roll into the people. But the big thing I want you guys to possibly get out of all of this is what is your system going to be to that you do it the same way every single time to get the best results and be on purpose. Aha. Okay, I think I got it here, guys. Click on this and open her up. And I'll switch my screen over. Oh, that's the manual. Doggone it. Again, like I said, I hate traveling, and one of my computers everything's ready to go on this one, and it is not playing nice. It's not letting me log in. Everything worked perfect until I tried to log in. Open houses. All right, let me load that one up and I'll open it up here. Okay, so basically the first thing is, do you hold open houses to sell houses or to get buyers? That's another thing I do want to ask. If you're doing open houses, what's your ultimate result? Is it to sell the house that you're in? Is it to find buyers? Is it to find sellers? And what is your plan? Just share just that one little piece, that one other piece with me. What are you guys doing them for? Are you just doing it because you're supposed to do open houses because you're a realtor and that's considered lead generation, or what?
Yeah.
You're just doing it because it's lead generation and you're supposed to do that, right?
No, I'm trying to find buyers for the house, but I'm also trying to, if they're not buying my house, I want to capture them as my client, and then find another house for them. Well, if this house doesn't work for you, there are 5 other open houses in Paramus. Are you working with an agent? I can set up a schedule for you. Or if you don't want to do that, I can pick out 4 or 5 houses, set up tours for you during the week or next Saturday. Would that be beneficial? Would that be of value to you? And we can go out together and I can get you in without all these people here.
Gotcha. Okay. And so it sounds to me like you do several open houses. So again, I got to ask, because here's what we're doing. We're really diving deep on this, and I want to know what's the results. Like when we say more people come, one person came from the flyer, and that's great, guys. There's nothing wrong with that. Remember, there's 100 ways to get 100 buyers to work with you in real estate. So the more things you do, the more that one flyer to get that one person in there was a huge success. Absolutely huge. So how does that work? How many buyers have you grabbed off of open houses and taken them out? And I'll even dig a little deeper and ask how many of them have actually ended up closing with you.
I've picked off 3 buyers, I guess, that have been serious people. I haven't closed anything with any of them. It's they're kind of I have one woman who got divorced, who sold her house, and she's just really picky. And I'm showing her some great houses, and she's, I kind of don't like the neighborhood, or there's not enough privacy, or whatever it is. And then I have a couple other people who the price just hasn't been right, hasn't worked out. But I've got 3 people that I picked off, and I've done open houses for my listing, and I've done open houses for other agents' listings. And I tell you, my open houses have been better because I've gone through the flyer and the balloons at the door knocking, and been more thoughtful about it, and put out a Facebook ad. And it's if you don't do the prep work, people aren't driving around and say, "Oop, there's an open house, I'm going to it." They look on realtor.com, they look and they make their schedule, and they're like, "Okay, we're going to hit this, 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 and this." So you stand up and shout, "Hey, I'm having an open house, at this great house on this date, this time."
Okay, guys, I'm going to pause out for a second, because how many of you took notes during that? How many of you actually wrote down what Scott was just saying? Because this is the important part of what we're talking about today. He just told you what he really does. He's picked up 3 buyers. How many open houses would you say you've done in that time? Like, what was that time frame? How many open houses to get? Probably what it sounds like is 3 buyers is what you kind of remember getting from all the open houses you've done?
Well, 4 weeks, over the past 4 weeks.
Over the past 4 weeks. So in 4 weeks, you did how many open houses?
Well, I did 4 open houses, but one weekend I did, I had it Saturday and Sunday. So I guess you'd say 5 open houses.
Okay.
And this weekend I'm doing 1 Saturday and Sunday.
All right. Okay. So guys, 5 open houses has picked up 3 buyers. And the reason I'm asking you this is, how many of you could use 3 new buyers right now? 3 new buyers, right? And here's the commitment is, you just heard it's 5 open houses, or it's an open house every week. So there's a thing right here I want you guys to get. Right now, you don't have a ton of money. Remember, we talked about marketing is the money heavy. It's cost intensive. Open houses are free. When most people get into real estate, if you look at, you got time right now more than you have money, it is okay to invest in your open houses or your time to be doing things that are free. And I've told you guys this, I built my entire business on open houses, FISBOs, door knocking, that kind of stuff. So, oh, where did my slide just go? Oh, come on, guys. Where did my PowerPoint just go? There, I'll open it again. There we go. I think I can, there we go. Yeah. How many of you have time right now? So really like focus on this. And I'm going to give you a tip. Another thing that just kind of enhances exactly what Scott just said about open houses, and you've done 4. And think about this. What if you had done 12? Let's see, 4. What if you had done 12 open houses, right? Would that actually be more buyers, right? So benefits of open houses are for a lot of things. Yes, it is lead generation. I will tell you, is it to sell the house? Because I did hear that comment come up. And honestly, like in 30 years, and I've probably done thousands of open houses, and I go all out and try to get the most people there. Sometimes I have nobody show up at the open house. Sometimes I have 20 people show up at the open house. It's no way to really gauge other than do as much as you can to prep for it to get the most people through. I also did them on Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you got 3 from 4 open houses, Scott, and if you had time, could you do it on a different day as well and do 2 open houses on the weekend? And I know it takes time away from our family and all that other stuff too. So you are figuring out where you are in your business that you can invest what time to get what result. And the question is if you had done 12 open houses, do you think you might have 9 buyers, right? Just something to think about. And guys, nothing that I say comes from judgment at all. There's no judgment in it at all. It's just to make you think about it. Because I heard that once. I heard somebody say, do an open house on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday and Sunday. And so I did it. And I was out from 4 o'clock until 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock for the drive home traffic in a new home subdivision, right? So just kind of think about it. All right, so holding open houses consistently is very rewarding and profitable. Okay, so this is the other thing. When I did them on Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, that was actually in a new home subdivision, but I had signs out there that sat out all week long, open Thursday, 4 to 7, open Saturday, 1 to 3, and open Sunday, 1 to 3. And so I advertised it all the time. And again, it's not some secret thing that got me 20 buyers every time I went through there, but it was just about being consistent on it. It is a high return on your investment because you're doing time and it costs no money. I already talked about that. Like I said, I did Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. So just whatever that means to you, write it down. What if you did it on a different day? What if you, and if it is your own listing, do you also do that for the agents? You guys do agent tours and stuff? Do the agents come out and tour properties?
People start doing that.
Yeah, so that one, we actually used to do, I think I must have been one of the pioneers or something. And we're talking about open houses, but this is still like an open house. It's a tour with agents. We had a title company that would sponsor it, and they would cook food, do a grill and all this other stuff. And they would get this was in the early days when nobody was doing them, and nobody's done them for a long time. And again, you got to use your COVID filter with it as well. But they would cook food, they would do all this stuff. So when I got them to sponsor it, I just play games with myself. So my game was to run them out of food every time they did one of these realtor opens. And guys, I did so much pre-marketing, like flyers ahead of time, all this other stuff. And it was just the food and things, but we ended up getting like 75 realtors. And think about that in this market right now. I mean, if you were to strategically time a new listing that you have. Now, I know we said the goal is not necessarily that the house is going to sell at the open house. And I don't know if I finished my comment on this. I have sold one house at the actual open house I was sitting in. Somebody walked into the open house, looked at it, and then bought that house. And we didn't write the offer right there at the table, But they liked it enough that I followed up with them after and they bought that house. It's happened one time in over 2,500 sales. Now I've sold a lot of houses because they came through the house and I stayed in touch with them, which that's another thing. I want to just layer one more thing on there because I say this all the time. Capture and cultivate every single person that comes to that open house. You want to capture as much as you can. We're coming back to the comment about not good information on the form and all that other stuff. So, and that is always going to be a challenge when you have that many people, but we'll talk through that and what I would do if that was my situation. And you guys can also contribute what you might do if you've had that happen. But the point is, it's about capturing as many of them as you possibly can, getting them into your database, writing the note. And we talked about this on the open house one, writing the note and making a note of who came through the open house and so forth. But it's only happened one time, but I've sold lots of houses because I got people off the open house and came through. So I more did open houses to get buyers for other open houses. I knew it probably wasn't going to sell the house. Now, let me pause for a second because this is part of a script for a listing presentation. In a listing presentation, I told you guys that I talk about, our value proposition and what do we say that our competition can't say. Well, one of the things, I'm going to flip this a little bit, because one of the things competition will say is, oh yeah, we'll do open houses every weekend that you want them. Now, I already know that I've sold one house at the actual open house from the time I sold. So listen to this script. This is what I say to the seller. Say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, how do you guys feel about open houses? It's like, oh, we've heard of them. And consumers know about Zillow, Trulia. That's where they do their searches. They think open houses because as a buyer, they see an open house and they go through it, but now they're a seller, right? So you have to find out where they are. And most people are like, oh yeah, we like open houses. Like open houses as a buyer is one thing, but do they like open houses as a seller? So one of the things I say is, now the thing I will tell you about open houses, we do open houses. However, we want to sell your house as fast as possible, get the most exposure right away, right? And we want the least inconvenience to you. What we know about open houses is less than, in my career, you can say less than 1% of the homes actually sell at the actual open house that you're holding open. So when you have somebody that just wants to do an open house every weekend, unless you are out of town or something, going to find something to do for 4 or 5 hours. Now, you might not do a 4 or 5 hour open house, but when you're talking to a seller, you want to say this. You got to go find something to do or take your kids somewhere for 4 or 5 hours for an open house for a less than 1% chance of selling your house at the open house. Now, and don't hear this wrong. I'm not talking you out of open houses while we're talking about open houses. I'm just giving you another script on open houses when you're sitting in a listing, right? So less than 1%. I've done it one time in my entire career, over 2,500 sales. I've done thousands of open houses. Here's where my marketing will help you get your house sold. Knowing that less than 1% of the people will actually buy the house at the open house they're in, I market to the other realtors who have houses in this price range and let them know that when they're doing their open houses every weekend, that your house is very similar. And we already know that 99% of the time, the buyers aren't going to buy their listing. So the agents are going to come over and show our listing. Now, remember, I told you one other thing. I pay a higher co-op than most people do, right? So they actually get an incentive to bring their open house buyers over to my house, and I'm putting it top of mind, all that other stuff, right? So that is another script that I still will do the open houses, but did you hear me? Market your house, your listing to the other realtors that have similar price listings. Now, the other thing I guess I don't need to sit here on this, that slide. The other thing is, though, with houses selling as fast as they are selling, now we have to start contemplating, when are we going to make it live? When's an open? If you're going to do an open house in it, most of the houses are already under contract by the time you get the open house, which is fine, because we already talked about the purpose is not necessarily to sell that listing. The odds that you're going to sell that listing to the highest price, the buyer who will pay the most for it at the open house is like slim to none. So you want to make sure that marketing goes out more, but you might be doing open houses for anybody in the office that has other listings, right? So that's the other thing on the listings, you get to target the area or the price range or the neighborhood or whatever. When you're asking for other people's listings to do an open house, you want to target where you actually want to be. Like, let's just say you want to move up to the $1 million price range. So guys, the thing is to network with the people in your office to find those $1 million listings so that you can become a kind of a partner with them. If you don't have these listings, it's for you to partner with them to let you know when they've got one coming up, and you want to make them look great to their seller, that if they're going to do the open house and if you're going to kick your seller out of the house for 3 or 4 hours for the open house and have that extra 1% chance of selling the house at the open house. See, now I'm saying the other side of the conversation. There is still a 1% chance that house will sell at the open house. So we're doing everything we can to get every opportunity. However, what you don't want to do is like wait a week to do an open house, because then you're doing spotty exposure on the listing. I'm kind of giving you guys a ton of information here, but this is just Brad Korn personal experience on open houses, right? So if you're doing an ad this week and an open house this week and something else this week and something else that week, if you can cram all that stuff into your instant on listing agreement and get all the exposure at once, you're going to get, you're going to make the seller happier. And it's something that your competition doesn't say. It's like, you know, if you pick somebody who's going to do an open house for you, they've already been on the market for a week. They're doing hodgepodge marketing. We're going to scoot all that stuff up, and we time it to where we do our open houses the day it goes live. So you might want to time how you're listing and doing the open house the day it goes live, because I'm coming back to the conversation earlier about having 40 people through the open house. If it's a brand new listing, first open house, this is the first open house that we've had, that kind of stuff grabs people's attention, and you can get all those people through, which we're coming back on that. We'll talk about that discussion. But if you're not the one that's listing it all the time and you're using other people's listing, how many of you are using other people's listings? I mean, you're going to other agents in the office, right? So start talking to the bigger teams and those agents that you've done open houses in the past, and let them know, hey, we were just in Ignite on open houses. And one of the things that I want to try to do is make this part of your process. And you think of yourself like their partner just on this one activity of marketing their listing. And that's on the open house piece. I would love it if we could do that open house the day that you're going live. And it doesn't matter what day they're going live, actually, because they're not going to probably plan that as well, unless they really get that you're part of their process now and they can just count on you for these open houses. But you could say anything in the 750 to $1.5 million and up, you know, I'm going to do an open house for you if you got that listing coming up. So this comes back to, if they're going to list it on Tuesday and not really plan it when they're going to go live, then do the open house on Tuesday. First open. I mean, that could be the big sign out front. First open, if you do any kind of signs at all, and all your social media marketing and everything, so that the minute it goes live, you do first open. And you could also combine that with the realtor open house as well to get the realtors through there that the buyers can't come see it. So anyway, I know I just threw like a whole bunch of stuff at you guys, but let me pause, because I did throw so much stuff at you. Did you get anything out of that? And if so, what'd you get? Anything? Did you pick up a couple ideas, or am I just rambling?
You know, it's just to get everything going in the first week. All right. So get the listing signed, get it on the MLS, because you got to do that in here within 24 hours, and then get, you know, all the flyers done and all that together in 1 week. It sounds to me it's difficult to do. I guess it's something that you try, but I mean, how much prep work do you have to do before that in order to have, you know, just be ready? I mean, you won't have pictures done, or professional pictures done yet. You know, it is actually, you're talking about it was getting in the first week. So if I sign them on Saturday, and I get them into the MLS on Monday, then I'm supposed to have an open house the next Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Well, so what I would do, this is perfect. when we talk about the instant on listing, it's a series of events. And this tells me everything that has to happen the day before it goes live, the day it goes live, all that stuff. Guys, what you just heard Scott say, you want to write out everything that you have to do. If a listing were to come to you today, you don't want to wing it. All right. Don't wing it. Write down everything that needs to happen that you would do, that it might take you a week to do it right now. And then you can look at that. And for you specifically, Scott, how do you scoot that stuff up and make it happen in less time so it doesn't take a week? Because I'll tell you, there's another thought process that I have, and that is, if it's not on the market for a week, I just lost a week's worth of buyers. I think I may have mentioned that in a previous thing, that from now until that sign goes in the yard or it goes live, some buyers bought something and we missed them. So, but if I get it on the market instant on, and this is why I went that route, the instant on is now if these buyers don't buy it this week, I still have the same ones I would have had in old marketing days, but I also gain some buyers, and sometimes I sell them before all that stuff even gets done, like a professional photographer or whatever. So if you know, if they're not like quite ready, they're staging the house, that's when the plan kicks off. So when you look at the house and you see everything, if you have a stager coming in, all that stuff, you're actually starting it immediately so that when everybody gets the stuff done and the seller says, I'm ready for people to come through the front door, that's when you're going live. That's where the open house would be. That's what I would do. If it were this market and I'm getting 40 something people through, and they sell fast, I don't know that I would wait a week to do the open house. I don't want to wait to put it on the market until I'm ready. I want it on the market the minute they're ready, and I want to have all my stuff in place. So think about that for a second. What does that look like? What does your plan need to look like, or how is it going to change to make that happen, to be the instant on listing, right? I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen. So you want a system in place so that every single time you list a property, it's the same way. And guys, like I said, the open houses are inexpensive. If you're getting 40 something people through an open house pretty much every time you do it, or you're getting 3 buyers off doing open houses, that's not a bad thing to have in every single listing, no matter what it is. I'm going to do an open house, right? I know I said the script earlier, how to dumb it down with the seller. That wasn't to not do the open house. What it really was doing was it was telling them that we're not going to sell to your house at the open house. So don't be disappointed because I do open houses on every house the day it goes live. And then you could do one on the weekend as well. But let's say it's a Tuesday. I don't put any thought into that. I say, when do you want people coming through your front door? And if they say they're ready right now, then it's like, all right, then we're going live tomorrow. Here's what I need you to do before then. And I would be blasting that open house out everywhere, like right then. So let me kind of get back on. I don't know, all the slides are not actually showing everything here. Well, here it kind of shows you, this is setting, oh yeah, it kind of jumped through here, didn't it? Yeah, no, that we're good. This is exactly what we were talking about, Scott, on the systems, on what you do, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that kind of stuff, all the different things that you do. So you got the house in command, you're loading it up, you're doing the marketing through like social media, you're doing the sign open house on Wednesday. It just kind of shows you that kind of stuff. But you want to prepare, prospect, and pursue is what your book is. If you're looking, I don't know what page it is on your handout. But it's just that setting up process for the actual open house. So write down the plan, everything that you do when you list a house. Where does open houses fit in there? And inside that open house tab is going to be another plan. That's what you do for the open houses, right? Questions about anything there? What is your on your system, or what is your system? So this is the one where it was showing posting online, generating your call list, calling the 25 neighbors. Is there anything else besides like flyers that anybody else has done? Flyers, or do you call? Do you like circle prospect around an open house? Does anybody do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What else would you circle prospect around that we've talked about where people move from? Have you guys added that to your list?
Oh,
You know what?
haven't. I've heard of that. You can research the people who've bought houses in the neighborhood and then go back to that neighborhood. Like it's some place in Queens or it's someplace in wherever, upstate New York, and then you call into that area and just say, hey, are you interested in moving to Paramus, New Jersey, or wherever it is?
Yeah, remember 5 mile radius, 50% up. So what's the 50% price range
Oh.
down from where you're doing the open house, right?
Yeah.
Is that on your call list? Because those are, here's the thing, whenever you're creating your open house list, think of and write down, what are the things that are going to get the most people there? And we kind of started this on the call, and it's what I wanted to hear is that a lot of times we just do open houses because that's what you're supposed to do. It's lead generation. So don't wing it. If you're going to take out 2, 3, 4 hours away from your family, right? Even though you're excited about building your real estate business, do everything in your power to get the most out of that 4 hours. Like, do not decide to do it on Saturday that you're going to do an open house on Sunday and not do any marketing. Guys, with the technology and stuff today, between Command, and now write this down, KWLS. Do not forget about KWLS. When I'm doing that online marketing and that prep, and it could be the day before, or it can be a few days before, either way, go to every single website that you have control over listing an open house. So sometimes in MLS, and you guys tell me if you have it in your MLS, is there an open house date spot on there? You have a spot for an open house? Yeah. A lot of people do not fill that in. They just kind of decide to do an open house. Fill it in there because then it feeds out to Zillow, Trulia, all that other stuff. But if you go into KWLS, there's an open house date spot there. And then you go into Command, there's a whole open house like marketing plan in there. If you go to Zillow or realtor.com, if you have your agent account, put it in there. Even though it might feed from MLS, you can put it in there and you can put extra notes and things like that, right? So Google list open houses for free or something like that, open houses, any site that you can add that to. It takes probably about 10 or 15 minutes to go hit all those sites, fill in the open house, and find anywhere you can put it, because that massive internet exposure will get in front of those buyers that are searching online. Go ahead. All right. Okay, let's see what else we got here. So preparing, let's see where my notes are. Okay, door knocking. We already talked a little bit about the door knocking the other day. And inviting the people to the open house. Again, if I were going to door knock, it could be the houses right around it, but it's the ones that I'm putting the open house sign in and asking permission to put the sign and then invite them. But are you going to that neighborhood that's around 5 miles, that if it's a $500,000 house, they're in a $350,000 area, and just go around? See, that door knocking seems to me more direct and more of an opportunity to get them to come to the open house than even just hitting the neighbors, right? Because who are the neighbors? Just nosy neighbors. Unless you plant the seed that the reason I'm inviting you to the open house is because you probably have people that come visit you and love the area, friends or family, and I want you to let them know this house is available if they wanted to get in the neighborhood around you. So that could actually open it up to maybe they don't want them to live right next door, especially family members, but just the people down the street and around the area. Go ahead. Somebody have a question? All right. Prospecting and spreading the word. There actually is a campaign for open houses in Command. Again, I've already talked to you guys about open houses in Command. They've got the way to capture the lead and all that other stuff. We don't want to get into a Command training class. You really got to invest in that time. Like, have you got on your calendar that on time to actually just figure this out? So here, your on time from today's session is to figure out, write down everything you could do to get the most people through the open house. If you can do signs, how many signs are you doing? Are you putting them everywhere? I mean, I would even double them up on the busiest street corners. And I guess I just envision that. I always envision you guys are like downtown sky, high, tall buildings, all that other stuff, but you have neighborhoods, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got corners, you got busy streets. Every busy street that leads into that neighborhood, put 2 signs up. So again, I Googled, it was a corrugated sign. I found them, they were 2 colors, so I could do the red and you got the sign is white, and I did red and blue for my colors, but red for Keller Williams and black for your letters, something like that. You can design that open house sign and put it on both sides. I found a corrugated sign online once with the stakes, and I could buy them for $3 to $4. I think they're about $4.50 a sign with the stakes the last time I looked. So I would spend $400 and buy 100 of them. And there's a ton of these online places that have that stuff now. And you might even have size restrictions depending on the neighborhood. So definitely know that. But I would order 100 signs, and I would put out a minimum of 10 everywhere from every major street and double them up, and then just get the 1 on each corner, getting them in there. So it gives you a lot of doors to knock on, all that other stuff. But for capturing the lead, remember we talked about at the open house, I did a card stock, just something I could hand them, and I would hand them the pen. If you just hold the card stock out in the pen, they usually take it. Now, we talked earlier about having somebody out front, and I don't remember who that was that mentioned that. The screen was off. I don't know if they're still in here, that had the 40 people and was out in front. Yeah. I don't know if that person's still in here, but sitting out front, they're probably going to give you more fake information. It's hard to know when you're going to have that many people through there. But the one thing I would probably do on something like that is do a drawing for something. Maybe you have something for a drawing to get them to fill it out. I really, here's the thing. I know I'm not going to sell the listing at the open house. I have the card and the pen, and I knew that sometimes I wasn't going to get it in everybody's hand. It's not so much about who cares if you get all their information for that many people if they're all putting down fake stuff. If I was doing it and I'm continuing to get fake stuff, then Brad Korn would say, I'm good with capturing anyone that I can have a conversation with. The people that don't want to give me their real information and don't want to take the time to talk to me, they're probably either working with an agent or they don't want to work with me. So if you have just a generic sign-in sheet, I would just have that go exactly like you're doing it. But I would actually just worry about the people that I actually had a 2-way conversation with, so that you can write the handwritten note. And remember what I said too on that, make note. If you have that many people coming through, make sure you make a note. If it was it seemed like it was a mother, a daughter, and the granddaughter or something like that, because a lot of times they might put the husband's name down or whatever. Just any quick note to remember who they were, because that's the second thing I was going to say, is that open house time is my office time. It's not just holding an open house to do the open house. It was my office time to write notes, do connections if nobody's in the house. If there's that many people coming through the house, I'm trying to get into conversation with as many of them as possible. So here's the script. So Scott asked earlier about the script.
Mm-hmm.
Think about reversing the conversation. Okay, reverse the conversation to, first of all, find out if when do they want to move and what's important about that date. Well, first of all, are they even moving? So, hey, thanks for coming by through the open house. Just checking, are you guys actually starting the process of looking, or are you just did you drive by? And you might do this, but it's not what I heard, right? And sometimes I'm saying this because sometimes you don't think about this when you're in that moment. You kind of roll right into your scripts that you've been practicing. But I soft open by saying, are you guys actually in the market looking, or did you just come by? How'd you hear about the open house? And I'm always asking that question, because that's going to help me get more people through. However they got there and saw it is how I want to keep marketing the property, right? So how'd you hear about the open house? Great. So you're just driving around looking, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I know they're probably a 98%er that's not moving right now. There's not so much urgency on that. However, it's hey, one of the things that we do is we do these open houses in this area as soon as they hit the market. We also help everybody know when new things are coming on the market, so I can put you on my hot list for the next new open house. So that person that just was driving by or came in, we live in the area, we thought we'd come in and see it. I'm using that to say, so I'll let you know about any open houses that are coming up, and now they're on your they're tagged in your database as open house prospect or something like that. So that every time you're doing an open house, you pull up open house prospect and send them a personal invite. Now you got a regular person that's coming through. On the other hand, well, we're just starting the process or however, so where are you guys thinking about moving? So pull that to the front side of the conversation. I'm not saying you don't do this on your particular example, Scott, but get into conversation first, find out if there is even a need and where they're moving and what's important about the date and how soon do they want it to happen. And then you can get their information. So now it's not filling out the form. It's, you know, I've got a list of other homes that are in the price range that you're looking for. We also have a hot list that tells you what new comes on the market the minute it comes on. I can put you on our instant notification program and let you know about the newest listings the minute they go live. We send them to you directly from the MLS. I mean, I highlight those words specifically because it's directly, it's instant. You're one of the first ones to know about the properties. And back that up by saying, whether you're buying right this minute or not isn't really relevant. It just gets you plugged into the market so you can see what things are coming on for and what they're selling for. So think about this, that the other thing is you might not be able to close them right there at the open house, but you're getting them on a follow-up plan so that when they do get ready, you're going to capture them. Here's what I want you guys to hear about open houses and buyers. Internet buyers, and we've said this before, but I just want to repeat it. Internet buyers and open house buyers are typically 3 or 4 months out from being an active live buyer. How many buyers do you think came through out of those 3 that you got? Scott, how many actually buyers have actually been through the open houses? 40, 100?
Yeah. Well,
A lot.
a lot. I mean, yeah.
I mean, was it 10 people and you got 3, or was it more like 50 or 60 people?
No. I get between 9 and 15 to 20 people in each open house.
Yeah. So see, out of 60 people, there's 3 that he's working with right now. So that they still are in the starting process. And what you're doing is you're pulling them out of the market so that nobody else can get them. And that's why you get this capture form, however you need to do it. And you guys might have to try a couple different things and figure out what works best. If you have like an iPad or something, they do have that capture thing where you could have them sign in on the iPad. But again, earlier we were talking about having somebody stand out front and collect. Maybe that's right at the front and you have a table that you set up and, you know, we're doing a drawing every quarter for Powerball tickets. Might be an idea. I've done this before. Quarterly drawing for Powerball tickets. So you could be a millionaire just by coming through this open house. Put your information on here. We'll put you in the drawing. We give away $25 in Powerball tickets every quarter. So that is like, you could do it monthly if you wanted to. It's $25, whatever. But that is putting them to a bigger pool and it would give them a reason to maybe fill it out. That was the best thing I could think of for drawings because you could actually win $1 million. I don't know that everybody's going to fill it in just for a TV or for something like that, a gift card or whatever. I mean, think about the price ranges you're in, you know, what kind of gift card is going to grab most of their attention, but do it for a Powerball ticket because that was something I just saw at this conference that I'm at. They saw that like 40% of young adults today, their retirement plan is winning the lottery. They just figure maybe I have a shot at winning the lottery and that's how I'll retire or whatever. So that's a good one. Powerball tickets. Hopefully you guys like that idea. But that might be a way to capture those 40 people to get more current information. But I'm going to come back to that and say, I'm not going to worry about those 40 people. I'm only going to worry about trying to connect with 5 of those people during the open house that I can. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to be on purpose to connect with as many of them as I possibly can. And if I don't connect with them, I'm just not going to push that hard. And think of them like an internet buyer, right? You're going to capture their information and then just blast them with an all email drip plan. And if it's a bad email, who cares? They do that on the internet too. And we just slide that to the side and don't worry about it. So that's maybe not the answer you want because I don't care about getting all 40 of those people, talking to all 40 of those people if they're not all buying. And out of 40 people, I guarantee you 95 to 95% of them aren't moving right now today anyway. So maybe if I'm doing these open houses consistently and stuff, we'll get them back through. So there is a neighborhood landing page that you can create in Command, and it's a good way to capture people. That's the one that you could put like on an iPad or something. Guys, I have like 3 or 4 iPads just sitting around in my basement that are perfect for open houses. Another thing that might be kind of cool, this is old school stuff, but it's still kind of technology, is I didn't do this, but I was going to get those the little portable DVD players kind of things. And now you have iPads and all that other stuff, and you can just pull stuff offline. But it was just to have a little DVD playing and sitting on the counter about the neighborhood or things like that. So these neighborhood splash pages that you can create, go into Google and search the neighborhood. A lot of times there are neighborhood or HOA pages on the website somewhere that you can get all kinds of information about the neighborhood. So you can give out those kind of handouts and put those on your website and use that in your marketing too. So what it all comes back to is follow up, captured, using the funnel and capture. I'm just making sure I don't have any other notes on here I want to tell you about. KWLS, realtor.com, Zillow. Make sure you put that open house everywhere if you're going to do it, right? Okay, so just capturing them, think in terms of how many people can you actually connect with to get in your system, and they're going right back on the 8x8 and 33 touch. So Fidel and I talked about this yesterday. Don't get too caught up in all the campaigns and all the smart plans that Command has. Just pick a generic one, like the neighborhood follow-up could be for everyone. I mean, that neighborhood nurture is for everyone, even if it's a for sale by owner, even if it's an expired, if they're an open house person, whatever, it's a very generic one. But look at the campaign and make sure you have calls layered in there to just follow up with them once in a while, see if they have questions about their neighborhood or anything in particular. And what I was getting at on that script earlier about the open house is finding out their stuff and getting on the instant notification program or the neighborhood nurture. What you're doing in your script is layering in that you are the go-to person for any information about any property that sells. So, I mean, my generic, like, kind of call to action is, listen, I'm going to give you my personal cell phone, put it in your phone, tag it as Brad and Realtor, and any property or anything at all that you ever, if a neighbor's house goes on the market, if you hear of an open house, you see something on Zillow or Trulia or whatever, just text me the address and I can pull up all the information about it. I can tell you, sometimes I can even tell you what they bought it for, right? So here's your script, is saying that kind of stuff, and say, I can sometimes tell you what they bought it for. I can tell you how long it's been on the market. We can find out a lot of information. I'm like the detective on every property. So any property at all that grabs your attention, just text me the address. So you see how I've captured them in there and I'm cultivating them. And now I've got them, anytime they think of real estate, they think of me. They got their go-to person. And it wasn't about on the front end, tell me what you're looking for, and like just your normal script. I want to do that first. Now that they're like, they see this value, they get past that limbic part of the brain, they can process everything you're saying now. Now I can say, and by the way, if you did find that dream home, what's it look like? What neighborhood would it be in? And even though you might not be moving right this minute, if you had your dream opportunity and your dream house came on the market, when would you think about moving? So I'm asking those kind of bold questions. I'm asking more questions than I am doing anything else, just to feel them out for what that looks like. And if they're moving now, then you guys know what to do. You don't need a script for that. All right, I think we pretty much covered everything. I mean, here was just some other things. If you're looking for, I don't know that this is as critical right now because open houses and inventory is so low. I don't think you need to do the extra stuff like having a speaker there. I mean, you could have an interior decorator, or if you do a stager or you do a photographer, maybe invite them to the open house to actually talk about ways to, like what you do in a photo to stage a property, or what the photographer looks like when they're shooting great photos. That might be better for like when you invite the neighbors. I would probably do that if I was door knocking around the house, inviting the neighbors. I might have that at the very beginning of the open house because you could be really busy. The 15 minutes before the open house is open, you could do a special preview and have a photographer. But again, that until you even create your open house system, you don't need to be thinking about that at the moment. Don't add more stuff to do, right? So again, this just says best practices for doing the open. Of course, you're going to try and greet them at the door, right? But another thing that you could do is when you hand them that card while they're filling that out, I like to get it back while they're right there, just so I can get their information. And then I say, now, while you're going through the house, let me know how it compares to other houses you've seen, or, you know, what do you think of the price, to try and get their feedback before they leave. You might even hand them a card where they fill that out. Maybe it is for a drawing for something, for that Powerball ticket. You could have them go through and just, you know, give your sellers comments on what they like about the house, whatever. I came on that one thing, doing the extra thing, just kind of thinking outside the box with technology today. Maybe, and I don't know how you would do it, but they were talking about like creating games and having scavenger hunts in the open houses. I can't picture how that would work right now, especially in this type of market when you've got that many people coming through. But the only thing I thought of is there a way to have them post unique features about the property, if it has a secret closet, or it's got some crown molding or something unique? The doorknobs are like the glass old antique doorknobs or something like that. Just say, take a picture and post it on, you know, our Facebook page or something. If you see something cool about the house, that could get you some exposure. But I don't know how. I mean, unless you guys are doing something like that, are you finding it's probably too busy to do that kind of stuff at the moment?
Not doing anything like that.
Yeah, you'd have to figure out something. I mean, maybe it's just like a sign with the website that they could leave if you were going to do something like that. But again, think of, how do I get more exposure to this listing and the people coming on there? I mean, this is just the other stuff, going through the house, turning on all the lights. Guys, one of the things I do in my open houses is I turn on, if they have radios throughout the house, and you know they do if it's your seller, but check it ahead of time. I will turn on like light, soft jazz station or something. You could bring two Bluetooth speakers, run it from your phone, and have it in two different sides of the house, and then just have it like playing low, just to have an ambiance of music or something. So I'll play like light jazz music and things like that. But wiping things down, making sure the bathrooms don't look like crap. Just throw stuff underneath the counters, cabinets, kind of clean it up and make it stage, because those people live in the house. So they probably did not, they probably don't think about that all the time, but most people probably do. So I already talked about have that default generic plan, do the neighborhood nurture, and I think that's about it. Let me see, did I cover everything that you guys said? Knocking on doors, inviting sellers. Did I answer everybody's question? I mean, not really answer, but just get you to think about it a little differently, right?
Yeah.
Did you guys get some good stuff out of today?
Definitely.
I mean, I do want you to know I wasn't totally disorganized. I was scrambling from one computer to the next. So hopefully I didn't lose everybody thinking, oh, he's not prepared today. I know this information inside and out. We covered everything that I made notes on. I just had to switch computers. So I do apologize for that little bit of confusion if it threw you off this morning. But other than that, we pulled it off, man. I won't not show up. So if for some reason you show up and I'm not coming on, I either died or I can't get in. Right. And I'll always
Brad,
yes, go ahead.
Brad, can I say something?
Yes.
Also, I don't know if you mentioned it. Also, it's very important when you have open houses to do your Facebook Live, because this way you get to know all your contacts that you'll have an open house, and it gives a notification to all your contacts right away when you do a live. I don't know, what do you think about that?
That is absolute. I cannot believe I did not even bring that up. Yes, I'll do Facebook Live. And think about it, there's different ways. So you have all those different platforms too. If you do Facebook Live, make sure you save the video to your phone, and then you can upload it to like Instagram or some of the other ones too, right? get that. I mean, do that 5 or 10 minutes before the open house starts. And a lot of times, you know, understand too, if you get there early and the open house signs up, people are going to start coming through. So yeah, go ahead.
No, that's true. Exactly what you're saying. You have to do it earlier.
Yeah.
So once people start coming in, you won't be able to do it.
Yeah. But Facebook Live actually throws it up to a higher spot. And if you save it to your phone, so maybe you do Facebook Live even the day before, right? So like, let's just say you're going to do it on a Sunday. On Saturday, people are online. Do your Facebook Live on Saturday while you're looking through the house, just prepping to make sure it's ready for tomorrow so that you could just open it up. And then you're talking about it being tomorrow. And then tomorrow, if it's saved to your phone, upload it as a video. And I think you can even do something where it's the feature thing. They call it a premiere or something like that. There's a premiere feature. So, and you could put it on YouTube. That's where it is. You could upload that, get a YouTube account and upload it to your YouTube page. And you can do it as a premiere on Sunday when you're doing the open house. So just think of, I'm glad you brought that up because that's a huge one that I didn't talk about. Yep, Facebook Live. And then save it to your phone so you can use the video 3 or 4 more times. And you're just doing a quick walkthrough. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly what I was gonna say. I usually save it, and then you can always play that video over and over as much as you want.
Oh, one other thing you can use, if it is your actual listing, right? That now becomes your virtual tour link. Put it on YouTube and put it in your virtual tour link on the MLS, because the more spaces you fill in on MLS, the more higher up the searches you come on all the search engines.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
I didn't know that.
Yep. YouTube's a great, just create yourself a YouTube channel. I know it's a lot of information. So again, hopefully you got that on time on your calendar so you guys can go through and figure that out.
Sure.
All right. Any other questions?
I just have one tip that I use to capture a correct phone number. What I do is I put my flyer, which has all my information on the door, and I say to enter, text, or call this number. And then it's like I got their number in my phone, and then I still haven't felt the COVID. And then I kind of cross check, but I got, it's like I got the information in my phone. So,
guys, this is why I love getting you guys sparked and going. Look, COVID, there's 2 things on open house: safety and COVID, right? What if you get some logoed masks that you have those available, and at the door it is to call or text to enter? It's safety, so you're coming to unlock the door and let them in, right? And you've got their cell phone number captured, and you can offer them a mask if they don't have one. Even if they don't need one, even if you're not having them wear them, just say, and here's a mask in case you want to put that on or whatever, and then have them do the squirt and all that. Man, that's genius. That would take care of the issue that we talked about with the 40 people out front and you having to stand out there and take numbers. That would be a call and text for COVID safety. You could really use that. I don't like using tricks to get people to do stuff, but that's safety and it's COVID-ish.
Oh.
In fact, play that one and say, this will be our record. If somebody came through and we find out they have COVID, we want to make sure we get back to everybody that came through the open house. That's not even a tricky thing. That's like a real thing. That's tracing, right?
Yep.
So actually take that wherever you collect their information. In fact, I almost like the cell phone better than the old school filling in name, address, phone number. Just have them text to this number. Mm-hmm. And now you've got their phone and yeah, for tracing. That's awesome. I'm glad you shared that. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you go back in there and put some of this stuff to work and share your successes in a future one. All right. Have a great day. I will be on the road for Fridays in the hotel as well, but now I know I can get in at least. So I'll be there ready to go with the right PowerPoint on both computers.
Same
All right,
time,
guys.
10:30.
Thank you.